Hi, and thank you for joining me. Here I'm taking a look at some high quality New Zealand wines. So we're starting in Marlborough with what is the No.1 Cuvee from the No.1 Family Estate. It's a Blanc de Blanc. So it's a bottle fermented sparkling wine from the Marlborough region. So it's a Méthode Marlborough, and it's made by somebody called Daniel Le Brun, and Daniel's family historically have been making wine in Champagne, so he moved to New Zealand and decided to start making high quality bottle fermented sparkling wine in Marlborough. The process is pretty much the same. Méthode Marlborough is not a term they've just invented. It's one where there's a group of producers who've got together and set some quality standards to make sure sort of minimum aging times and that sort of thing are all adhered to sort of underpin the quality of Marlborough's sparkling wines. There is actually another producer with the name Daniel Le Brun in the New Zealand market, and that's because the first company that Daniel formed, he lost control of at one stage, and he's now had to start again. And the No.1 estate is currently their family business. The wine here is, as I say, it's a Blanc de Blanc. So, as with Champagne, you can use quite a number of red grape varieties. I mean, in Champagne they use Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, but fermented without the skins, so there's no colour because the juice of a grape is clear, to blend with Chardonnay to make sparkling wine. This is pure Chardonnay. So the style of that tends to be that the Chardonnay as a white grape variety is leaner, fresher, more lemony, and gives more initial intensity, whereas the Pinot will give more length and roundness to a wine. So the wine is made, it's then put into the bottle for its second fermentation. Once the second fermentation has finished, so it'd be sealed with a crown cap at that stage, the second fermentation will have created the sparkle in the wine, and the yeasts that created that sparkle will fall to the bottom of the bottle, and they'll die there, and as they break down they will release flavours, they will release proteins and sugars into the wine that will enhance the wine's texture as well as the bubbles. Now this receives 2 years aging with its yeast lees in bottle, so that's actually quite a reasonable amount of time. I mean, that's the sort of period that most pretty good houses, non-vintage champagnes will spend in bottle with their lees. So that adds to the complexity and helps with the texture. When bottled, the wine is once it's in bottle and the period of lees aging has finished, the wine is obviously then corked. So you have to remove the yeast first. You have the disgorgement, where the yeast is riddled to the top and is taken out with a plug as part of a plug of ice. It's then, the bottle's then topped, and you get a dosing there of sweetness just to counter the wine's acidity. So this has about 6.5 grams of sugar in there, so that's slightly lower than you'd get with a Brut champagne, but it's not really to give sweetness, it's just to prevent the acidity from being too sharp. The wine then receives a little further extra bottle age before sale. So to talk about the wine, let's have a look at it first. First thing I'd say is, I don't know how easily you can see that, but this has been open for a little while, and there are some really fine bubbles continuing to rise constantly in the glass. So that's a really good sign that the wine has been made and has had this long yeast aging. On the nose, there are two aspects to the aromas. One is a yeastiness. It's not a concentrated Vegemite, Marmite yeast extract aroma. It's a much more sort of fresh, lively, doughy aroma. And behind that you've got, well, actually two things. Minerality primarily. There's a chalkiness, but there is also a little sort of citric note, sort of citrus and lemon blossom perhaps. So the nose, there's plenty going on there. It's not massively intense, but has some complexity. So let's taste it. The wine is relatively lean and fresh. There's some quite tart, lemony, appley acidity. There's a minerality at the finish. The bubbles are very fine on the palate. This is a sparkling wine style designed as an aperitif. It would, go nicely with sort of light canapes with sort of smoked salmon or something like that. Would work very nicely with it because it's got a lovely acidic cut. It's got a clean lemony flavour. There's that minerality at the finish. It's not too broad, too weighty. It doesn't need food to go with it. It's very refreshing as you drink it unaccompanied. So yeah, No.1 Family Cuvee from the Le Brun family in Marlborough. Thank you for watching. Do join us again.